Not sure. I'll try to get the comments to show up on my iPad over here. Got it in there. Okay. Just make sure it's muted. All right. Get my settings here figured out. Bear with me. All right. So my husband's over here. I think he's going to try to keep an eye on the comments for me. All right. All right, well, I'm going to jump right in. My name is Brooke. I am the Aunt B. I'm with Aunt B's Baking. I'm the B in Aunt B's. If you're watching the replay to this and you have a question, just make sure you type in replay before your comment so that I know to come back and answer any questions that you have. In this live, I'm just going to go over my 3-year journey as a full-time stay-at-home mom and part-time business bakery owner. And I'm going to tell you kind of what worked for me, what didn't work, things I wish I knew, things I learned from this group over the last 3 years. And so I started off as a stay-at-home mom in 2019. I started a cupcake flavor of the month in 2020 and then officially launched, got all my licensing, became an established physical business in June of 21. I started attending farmers markets in my local town of about 9,000 people. I've had to evolve my business a lot over the years due to kids, family, still struggling with work-life balance, as I'm sure everyone can relate. So yeah, thanks for being here. If you have any questions, let me know and hopefully I can get to them. And then hopefully we have some time at the end and I can ask some questions too. So do we have any right now?
Just hellos.
Okay. Yay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and jump right in. We're going to start with the not so fun stuff. So the legal stuff, definitely not fun, but very necessary. I was able to do all of this in preparation to start attending those farmers markets. I wanted to have all of my licensing and everything squared away before I started attending them. So that was kind of like a push for me. I wasn't really super busy with like taking orders and stuff like that yet. So it was a great time for me to just dive right in and do all of the research that's necessary. Unfortunately, there's a lot. So first off, I started with my business name. I was an aunt before I was a mom. So I started baking with my nieces and nephews and they call me Aunt B. So Aunt B's Baking was kind of started. I did a lot of researching it, so I Googled it, made sure that there wasn't another one of me out there, and made sure that the handles and stuff were available on social media. So I started, I'm pretty sure I already had a little bit of a Facebook page by then, because I did use that for my cupcakes and stuff. But really started actively posting on it, obviously. And then I started probably an Instagram a year later. I decided to file my business as an LLC. I am a single member LLC. I'm not going to go into a lot of information on that just because I'm not an expert and I won't pretend to be. I just spent a lot of time YouTubing what the difference was in all the different business entities and which one sounded right for me. The main reason I went with that one was because it pretty much separated me personally from the business. So if I had to fill out paperwork, I was not putting my personal social security number on anything. It was the business, and I did file for a EIN number, which is an employer identification number, and I used that with all of my banking stuff, any tax forms, all of that stuff. I used that number instead of my personal social security number. So that's just a personal preference and what works for you and what sounds like a good fit for you. I did register as a cottage food home bakery. I had a lot of trouble figuring out what exactly I needed in the beginning. I was getting conflicting information on the internet. I guess I didn't tell you what state I'm in. I'm in the state of Illinois. So there was a lot of different things that I needed for Chicago versus anywhere else in the state of Illinois. So I was finding that was very difficult for me to try to figure out what I needed. So I ended up calling my local health department, my county health department, and that really, again, we were kind of a small town, so he was very knowledgeable, and I actually got to speak to someone. I know some of you live in probably big towns and you maybe can't get a hold of someone as quickly as I was able to, but he was a really great resource for me. Had the time to sit and talk with me on the phone, telling me everything that I needed, answered all my questions, and that was a really great starting point. So I got all of my food safety management certificates, all those tests and stuff that I went ahead and took. I did go to my local bank here and opened a banking account, and I had more than one personal credit cards. So I went ahead and just exclusively used one of them as the business bank account, or the business credit card. So I didn't have to go and open a new one or anything like that. I just chose one randomly and decided that one is going to be for all of my business stuff. So, and then I went ahead and had some questions. Again, wasn't finding a lot of information that I needed on sales tax. So I went ahead and hired a CPA, or I didn't hire him. I guess I just went and visited a local CPA here in my town, paid him, I don't know, maybe $100 for an hour of his time. Just got a lot of validation. I just didn't want 5 years down the road, I was doing things a certain way and then find out that I had been doing it wrong the whole time. I have a lot of anxiety about that. So the peace of mind was totally worth the investment, even though early on this was a lot to get kind of started. A lot of those fees in those classes and exams, and obviously registering as the business LLC, there were fees associated with all of that. So it was kind of rough to spend that kind of money, but it was really worth it in the long run for my peace of mind, knowing that I was filing everything correctly and doing what I needed to do. So again, I highly recommend getting all of that stuff done and out of the way and not waiting too long to do that, because then I feel like you get so wrapped up in I need sales, I need to make money, I need to, get busy. So take that time when you are kind of, I do want to pursue this, but I'm not quite fully booked or really busy yet. Take that time to do all this research. Again, it's not fun. It's not enjoyable, but it's really necessary. For me in the small town, I just wanted to make sure I had everything done correctly in the right way in the beginning. So that was something that I am glad that I did in the way that I did it. So no questions yet. Waited till the end and it was a pain. Yes, don't do that. All right, so I'm going to jump right in, and I guess hold on, I need to stop and tell you this. So Heather, I think, attached the Google document in the event, and then I can try to, maybe I won't try. I don't think I can put a comment in. I will attach a comment with this Google document later on, but I'm going to reference this a lot throughout the live. So basically, it's just a bunch of helpful links, whether it's past lives or things that I use that I'm sharing with you as templates. All of that is on this document, and I can keep updating it as I need to with new things. So farmers markets, there's a ton of past lives. A lot of people have given their expertise and wisdom and insights on it. I learned so much from them. So I do have all of it broken down on my Google document of pop-ups, farmers markets, and other events. So kind of all combined into one, but a lot of great information. So I just want to kind of really quick go into, again, this is kind of where my business started. So I did attend farmers markets. I feel that it really helped get my name out there, showed the community that I was here and ready to take orders, and they got to obviously see what I was offering, where my skill set was. I went through lots of business cards, again, just handed them out left and right, even if they didn't want to buy anything, just handed them out. Another great thing about the farmers markets for me in the beginning was it really helped me learn what I liked to make. Again, as a new baker, you don't necessarily have a set menu yet. If you're like me, you did everything and everything. I made it all, I sold it all, offered it all. So it really helped me kind of figure out, okay, what do I like to make versus what I don't like to make, and then what sells and what doesn't sell. I loved my brownie recipe. I thought they were the best things ever, and everyone that tried them liked them, but for whatever reason, they never sold at farmers markets. So I kind of had to step away from brownies and focus on cupcakes because that was selling like crazy. Kind of when I started, Illinois just kind of released that you could actually start using buttercream. So it was kind of just perfect timing on my part that I was actually offering cupcakes at a farmer's market when that was maybe not something that people were used to getting. So that worked out really well for me. I did keep them in a cooler during the hot months. So then another thing, Bonnie shared a great spreadsheet. Again, I have it linked in the Google documents of her tracker sheet to what she brought to farmers markets, how much she sold. Definitely highly recommend keeping track of that. For me, I attended a couple different farmers markets. Some were weekly, bi-weekly. The big one here in my town was at the end of the month, so it was once a month in the summer. So that really helped me keep track of how much I took to each of these markets, how much I made, what items sold, what items didn't sell. And then I did some holiday markets type events. So that was nice to look back on because those were maybe only once a year. And as I've done this for a few years, oh man, I don't remember what I made, what sold, what didn't sell. It was really nice to go back on those spreadsheets and look at the date, the time, the location, what sold and what didn't. So highly recommend keeping track of all of that. The last thing about farmers markets in the beginning for me was it really helped me to start learning and playing around with cost, what things cost, and figuring out what profit margins are and what I wanted. I definitely was not realistic with them in the beginning, but at least I kind of, it a little bit opened my eyes, I should say. I definitely was not paying myself, but I at least started somewhere and figured out, you know, obviously sugar cookies were a labor of love. In the beginning, I was very slow at decorating, so those were not really realistic for me to make a bunch of for a farmer's market or event just because the profit margins were not great for those, versus cupcakes were really convenient for me, fast to make, low cost. So just things like that. You can kind of play around with that as you're starting out. You don't know anything necessarily. You learn as you go. So that was super helpful for me in figuring out my menu, so to speak. All right. Any questions so far? I'm going to speed through this so I know that we have some time at the end, hopefully. So orders when I started, I was all over the place. I took every order, no matter what it cost me and my stress levels. I had no idea how to say no. Again, at the beginning, you're kind of just grasping at straws, and I had no idea what my ideal client was. Heard a lot about the twins talking about find your ideal client and market them. I had no idea who my ideal client was until I met her. So over the years, I kept trying to find out who my ideal client was, but it really truly wasn't until I met her and she placed an order with me, and she was so easy to deal with, and she didn't bat an eye at the prices, and just little things like that that I started to learn and pick up, like, oh yeah, I like her and I want all of my customers to be like this. Then I started kind of realizing this is kind of who I need to target, and that really helped me in the beginning. But a lot of that is just trial and error, and unfortunately I can't give you a lot of help on that besides just keep going. I had no days off. I responded to messages and emails at all hours of the day and night. And I did not have policies or procedures in place. So on the Google document there, I do have the cookie contract or terms and conditions. There's a post in the group that they kind of crowd surfed everybody's what you have for your own personal ones, and they kind of made a master copy. That was a really great starting point for me, as well as if you just search in the group, a lot of people have offered up their own, and you can kind of just read a bunch of different ones and figure out what works for you. I'm non-confrontational. Don't call me on the phone. I don't want to talk on the phone. I very much felt if someone wasn't happy with their order, it was against me, right? Our business is kind of our baby, and we feel personally attacked if someone's not 100% satisfied. I feel like that's very normal in the beginning. I have since become a lot more confident, and I stick to my policies and procedures. But like I said, in the beginning, if someone has an issue and you don't have those in place, it is on you to try to solve it. Whereas if you have those policies and procedures, they're your fallback. You can blame them. Like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't do that due to my policies, but here's what I can do, and try to make them happy as best you can. But without any of that stuff in place, you're kind of at their beck and call, so to speak. So I definitely recommend, part of getting yourself established, figuring out how you want to run your business. Definitely don't think you can have that stuff in place soon enough. And by all means, you can always tweak them. I recently just kind of went through at the beginning of the year and kind of refreshed everything and ended up changing a few things myself. So by no means they're going to be perfect, but at least there's something there. One thing that I did that I really enjoyed and that I still use to this day and can't recommend it enough if it works for you and your business and where you live, is having a porch pickup stand. So let me get a drink here. My husband made a pickup stand for me out of old recycled wood, and it's something that I can have stay outside on my porch. So it's kind of like a monument. Like, so people drive by, oh, that's the cookie lady because that's her stand or whatever. I definitely love having a cash box. I went on Amazon and got one for like $20 and have it drilled into the side, into the wood. It has a key, obviously, so people can drop off payments for custom orders, for classes. It's just been really convenient to have that option for people. I also purchased a Ring doorbell. I know I've read in the group, people are kind of like on the fence if they want to do porch pickups for safety reasons. Obviously, being a stay-at-home mom with kids at home with me, I definitely want to feel 100% safe in my home. And that was kind of a learning curve of what I was comfortable with. I talked to my husband about it, and really, truly, for me personally, the Ring camera just really gave me a sense of security. Knowing that if someone came up to my front porch, like, I can see their face and see what they want without having to go to the door. And then same thing with like putting your address out there. I have my address on my website. I think only if you actually follow through and purchase something. Otherwise, when I do like pop-ups or flash sales just on my porch, probably 9 times out of 10, they're return customers, so they already know. But I would say I don't usually just post my address on my Facebook page. I usually just private message someone my address. So that's just kind of, I guess, a growing pain that you kind of have to figure out what works for you. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. For me in my life with the kids, it's been a lifesaver having that option for people and not having to necessarily be decent and just set things out for people and have it work for them. You never know when a kid's going to be screaming and you have to answer the door and be professional. It's a little crazy. So for me, that's been a no-brainer. I've had it pretty much since day one, and it's been amazing, and I love it. So, and then I'm going to get real with you and give you some numbers and figures, and yeah, I'll be really vulnerable with you. So I made $11,000 in sales, not profit, just sales, in my first year, which I started in June, so it was about a half a year. I was excited to see that number, but I worked my butt off. I did not know, like I said, boundaries, nothing. I worked all the time, constantly. I was doing those markets. I was wasting so much product because with farmers markets comes, you don't know how much to make. So even though $11,000 for me personally sounded really great in sales, it didn't look great at the end of the year. Let's just say that. So then that was my first year, half a year, I guess, June to December. And then the next year was $7,000 in sales, and that was with a 4-month break. I had my daughter. So I knew that I was going to be taking some time off to be with her and just adjusting to a life with 2 little ones at home with me instead of just one. So yeah, at the end of those 2 years, like I said, year 1 was maybe great. But I did not show a profit either year. So after expenses, there was nothing left. So yeah, take that for what it's worth. If that's helpful to you to get an idea of where maybe it could be, that's what it was for me. So the last point for where I started was my kitchen situation. So I used a shared kitchen space upstairs with my family. And I had supplies and packaging and ingredients all over my house. I had closets down the hallway that were empty, so I shoved packaging and stuff in them. That led to a lot of waste and overbuying because I didn't know I had it, or I didn't know where it went or couldn't find it. So that was definitely a huge growing pain for me, having baking dishes along with our daily dishes piled up. It was not fun. I know my husband can agree with that. Just having stuff everywhere. It was a mind clutter. I couldn't focus. I'm a visual person, so I need to see everything laid out and to know what I have. And I struggled with that for 2 years, and it was rough. So that's where I came from, kind of where I started. So now I'm going to jump in, if there's no questions yet, of where I'm at currently. So I can say that the twins are right and classes are a license to print money. I started doing them in my home, in my basement here. Probably 6 to 10 people fit was kind of my average. I probably started those in year 2 because I remember being very pregnant with most of my classes. So that was year 2 when I kind of started doing the classes. Then I moved to a rented space. So obviously had the expense part of either an hourly rate, a flat fee, or a per person kind of situation with local venues. And then came to now, so the end of 23 last year, I had local business owners reaching out to me and asking me to come to them and teach in their location for free. So that was huge for me. That was a huge accomplishment and just kind of a big win. Some of these businesses I actually reached out to initially and asked them if I could have their space and what they would charge, and they kind of said a lot. And then now for them to change their mind and say, yes, please come here and use our space for free. I've definitely worked hard on being networking. So like being present on social media with other businesses. The new page experience on Facebook has helped me tremendously to see those businesses in their posts and engage with them. That's been really nice for me. So, do we have questions? No? Okay. So that was super awesome for me. And I had someone reach out that was like 2 or 3 hours away. I had to Google where they were. I had no idea how they found me, but they wanted me to come and teach a class. So that was really cool. Right now I'm currently at about 1 public class a month. And then I do some private classes probably every other month, just depending on when people want to hire me for parties and stuff. So then really quick, I have to brag on the twins again. The cookie class kits have saved me so much time. I was lucky enough to snag their awesome deal at the end of last year where I got the whole 2023 all 12 classes for the 1 month, and then I went ahead and unsubscribed or canceled my subscription. Downloaded everything first and then downloaded all of that stuff. So I have saved so much time working and having their content, their pictures. Before that, obviously, I was designing and doing all the photography, making my own slideshow. So just having their kits was awesome. And I probably will come back more once I've used all 12 of them. So, okay, we got a question. Kennedy, how much time did you spend planning classes? I feel like I never have time. Yeah, it's a lot. I'm not going to lie. I kind of went with what the twins did and tried to do like a 6-week planning time, but it ended up always being like a month from when the class date happened. But I can't even answer that. A lot of time. Like, I mean, it is definitely a lot, which is why, again, I can't recommend the cookie class kits enough. Just the time in planning and figuring out how many you want to have. My public classes range from 9 to 15. 15 is kind of my jam. I don't like going too much over 15 people for just me, myself. If I had more help, maybe I could go to 20 to 25. But yeah, Kennedy, I'm sorry, that's really hard for me to answer. I would definitely say that like planning the set, designing the set, and then making some material and like posting about it, it definitely took me a good week to like sit down and figure all that out and design the set and everything. So yeah, cookie class kits were awesome, and all of that was done for me. So all I have to do is plug in and post and sit back. So just really quick, another like where I'm at. So I went ahead and purchased at the end of last year. I had my first class in February of this year, and I posted it on January 1st, and I sold out 15 tickets by January 3rd. So 3 days, sold 15 tickets. I was blown away. A little bit of me wants to say that it was because I did a decent job kind of hyping people up at the end of the year, because I knew that I had bought these cookie class kits and I knew that I was going to be implementing them in 2024. But I don't think with people and how they spend money, and kind of January being this lull and not many people want to spend money, the fact that I had 15 people sell me out in 3 days, I think it was the kits and the photography and the posts and all that stuff. So that was just something obviously that worked really great for me. I'm excited to continue to use their kits and classes this year. Again, I pretty much have about one class scheduled every month. And yeah, I'm really excited. So then really quick, I do offer private classes. So again, there's a bunch of lives. That's probably one thing I don't have listed on here is there are a couple people who've done past lives regarding classes and what not to do in a cookie class. And her video really set me up for what I needed to do to get myself prepared to start offering private classes. For me personally, I do a 6-person minimum. I require a deposit. I sell a flat rate per person, and the host fills out my form. The host is my contact person. The host is who I get my payment from. So whether they're just paying for this party or they're the ones kind of getting the money from everyone attending, that's on them. I only deal with one person. I only collect payment from one person. I don't have to market. I show up, they give me a space that's set up with tables and chairs. There should be a bathroom and a hand washing station. And all I do is show up, set up my individual cookie stations in front of their chairs, teach my class, and take my supplies and leave. And they clean up, and that's it. So because I'm pretty confident, I've done classes for about 2 years now, I feel comfortable enough offering those. I definitely would not recommend starting with those just because going into people's houses that you don't know is kind of a little weird. And it definitely is a little awkward. But luckily, I just rush in and get it done, and then I get to leave. So it's been working. I have a lot of people hire me. So I've done like a 10-year-old's birthday party. I've done a family like summer gathering. I've done a baby shower activity. So like during the shower, I showed up. And I have a like union Christmas party in March going on, coming up. So that's kind of what I have and what I use for my private classes. So I'm going to move on to today in my custom orders. Again, custom orders probably give me the most anxiety getting them perfect. There's obvious deadlines with custom orders. Kids get sick, things come up. It kind of scares me a little bit, but I have officially niched down. So instead of cakes and cupcakes and brownies and all this stuff, I am officially just a cookie baker now. So I just do my decorated sugar cookies, and I have like 4-ounce big drop cookies. I call them mega cookies, and that's where I can get my creativity with different flavors. I'm trying to do like a flavor of the month cookie version now in 2024. So that's kind of coming up, and that's something that I'm currently working on. So where I'm at right now with orders, I'm about 2 to 6 orders per month is kind of where I'm comfortable. Again, I do this part-time. I'm a full-time mom, and my husband is usually on call 1 week out of the month. So I try to have that be more or less my less busy month or week. And then I have a week that obviously I'm prepping for class. So if I have 1 class a month, I don't take orders or customs during that time. So that really only leaves me with 2 other weeks in the month to have custom orders. Sometimes I fill up and sometimes I don't, and I'm okay with that. That's where I'm at with my business right now. So I have raised my prices this year, so that has definitely weeded out some clients, and I understand that totally. I would not pay my prices, which is why I started decorating. And I have learned that with raising my prices, I have a higher conversion rate. So if I only have, in the past, I used to have maybe 10 people fill out my custom order form a month, but maybe only like 3 or 4 of them actually book with me. So now I am more upfront with all of my advertising and my pricing. And again, I've really, really worked hard on all of my communication and everything across the board with my Facebook and my website. And I probably only maybe have 3 or 4 people fill out a form in a month, but almost all of them place an order with me. So that conversion rate of people inquiring versus people actually booking with me is way, way higher, like almost 100%, which I'm really happy with. So do we have anything? Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you plan on using the college class kits for your private classes, or do you make your own? Great question. So since I have all of my past class sets that I designed myself, I kind of broke them up. So I used to do 4 cookies. So I did 4 cookies, and it was about an hour and a half for me in my timing. The twins took the cookie class kits are 6 cookies, and I tried my best to be done in an hour and a half, and I failed miserably at the Valentine's class. So I'm now going to just say that the 6 cookie kits are going to be a 2-hour class. So I do have them broke up that way. So if people really truly only want the hour and a half class, they can choose from my past designs that I created for those private classes. And you have them, and if you've done them, I wouldn't necessarily throw that away. Again, every time you reuse a class, it's more efficient. And again, like I told Kennedy, you spend a lot of time working on those class kits and those designs. So just to throw them away, a little bit of me cringes because my photography wasn't great, or I could totally do that set better. But your time has already been invested in those, and you can make a great return on those. So I definitely still keep them. And in my Google document that's attached, again, you can look at it. I do have a sample of my form or you can just go on my website and find it. But you can actually take a look at my form if you want. And it shows all of the class sets that I have. And there's the 4 cookie ones are obviously the ones that I created. And then the 6 cookie kits are the ones from the Cookie College. So I hope that answers your question. So back to my custom orders. I wouldn't say upscale packaging, but I feel like I go kind of above and beyond. I do the ribbon thing. I do the car cookie. My communication is very consistent. Again, I share in the Google document all of my email templates and my forms, and I try really hard to be consistent with my customers' experience. A lot of my customers are returning customers, so they already have that expectation set of how they were treated the last time, and I want to meet or exceed that for the next time. Also, if they tell a friend about me and maybe they were really excited about the car cookie and I drop the ball and don't give that person one, I don't want them to be like, oh, I wasn't special or something. So I just really work hard on being professional. That was really important to me when I was setting up all of my policies and procedures. I knew that I wanted to treat everyone and make them feel above and beyond just getting cookies, which is why I have the higher end price tag on my cookies. Currently, I start at $72 a dozen, which is crazy to me. I never thought I would be that way. I probably started at 20 just 3 years ago. So I've really learned my time is money. Again, in my personal situation, I am a stay-at-home mom first. So if I'm going to be not as present during the week to fulfill an order, not take them to the park because I got to make dough, that kind of stuff, I really want to be compensated for it. My time is money, and I really, really want to go above and beyond. What is a car cookie? So you can search in the group and find a lot of examples, but basically when you present your box to your customer, you have, let's say they ordered 2 dozen cookies, you have 2 dozen in the box, and then you attach an extra cookie for the car, so the ride home. The theory behind it is a lot of people order these cookies and they're very obviously pretty, and the customer that paid for them doesn't want to touch the cookies that are for their guests for the party. So this is like an extra thank you to the actual person that ordered them from you and lets them get a sample of it. Because a lot of times if you hear from them, yeah, I didn't even get one because they were gone so fast or something like that. So that's just an opportunity as an extra thank you to make sure that they have a chance to actually eat a cookie. And they decorate it different ways. You can have it be a part of the theme. You can have it be your logo. You can have it just say thank you. I always bake an extra couple cookies just in case something happens to one. So it's usually, for me, my car cookie is just a part of the set. And maybe I'll write thank you on it or something. So that's just what I do. Okay. So again, I like to over communicate and set expectations for my customers. That's very important for me. I want everyone to know what they're getting from me exactly and what I expect from them in return. I also do digitally sketch all of my cookie designs in Procreate, which is an app for Apple on an iPad. There is a link to a past live that Allison did that walked us through how she did it. I pretty much do it very similar to her. Obviously, over the years, I've been doing it for a whole year now, and I have become more efficient. So in the beginning, it's very rough and it takes a lot of time. But now most of my cookie sets I have used so I can copy and paste the actual cookie cutter design shape, whatever you want to say, and then I just switch out colors and stuff. I can attach one of my drafts in the comments below later on, just to give you a reference to what that kind of looks like. I do send that. So I didn't initially. I'm a visual person. So again, this whole thing started off with me doing this for me. So I'm a visual. I wasted so many cookies trying to figure out my design concept from here to actually on the cookies. So I wasted a lot of cookies, which is time and money and dough, physical dough. I tossed them. So I really wanted to focus on making sure that the end design was what I really wanted it to be. So, and I had a hard time with that because I'm a visual person and I don't see the set until it's done. So for me personally, I started off sketching out these cookies just for me to make sure that my colors matched, to make sure it was a cohesive set. And then because I'm extra and I love going the extra mile for my customers and making sure that we're on the same page. I don't know how many horror stories I've read on the groups and other cookie groups where, you know, the customer said they wanted balloons, but they didn't say what kind of balloons, and I didn't ask, and like now they're mad that they're not the right balloons or something. So like that just scared me so bad for every custom order. So I love sending these to my clients. Again, in my Google document, I have the actual email that I send with the attachment, which is the cookie proof. So it's not just here it is, let me know if you like it. It's very much like, hey, this is just to make sure that we're on the same page with design and color and to make sure the details are correct. Spelling is correct, if there's names on cookies, that kind of thing. And I do include a disclaimer, so they can only have like one minor change. If they want to get picky and change more than that, it's going to be a redesign fee, and I'm going to charge them for it. So case in point, I just sent one on Saturday, and for the first time ever, I've never had someone change anything. They've always just said, this looks great. Thank you so much for providing this. So just this Saturday, I had someone say that they went ahead and compared my picture to their decorations that they found. And one of the colors, for whatever reason, when they bought their stuff and what she sent me, they don't have that color in their decorations anymore. So she just asked me to omit one of the colors, which again, in Procreate, if you know anything about it, it's really simple to just drag and drop a different color and boom, it's done. So for me, peace of mind, that is 100% worth it. And again, I share all of that stuff with you guys on the Google document as well. What do we got here? We got any questions? Where are we at? Okay. Love that. Is it necessary to offer discounts for referring a friend as you are starting your schedules up? That's a tough one. As far as offering discounts, it gets to be a tricky slope. Once you offer it to one, you kind of open the door for continuing that. I definitely thought about offering like something to someone, maybe not necessarily a discount, but maybe like a free cookie if they offer or refer a friend. But for me and my business and where I'm at, it was just too hard to track. And again, I don't bake cookies every single day and sometimes not even weekly. So for me to like bake just to bake one cookie to give to this person as a thank you or as for a referral bonus or whatever, it was just really not realistic for me personally. That's just where you got to figure out what works for you. I definitely am currently thinking about doing something as far as classes. I have a lot of people that keep coming back for classes, so I might do like a punch card scenario. You could do something like that for referrals. Yeah, give them a free cookie. People love free cookies. If you're making them already for a set, maybe you save it. I do have someone that just recommended me to someone, and I was going to go out of my way just giving her a free cookie to say thank you. But again, not advertise that because then you have to stick to it. So yeah, I currently don't do that. I have never done anything like that officially. It's more just if I have the time and I feel like I would like to do that. I hope that answers your question on that. So that was my spiel on the Procreate. I love it. I know the twins say that that's a lot of work, and it is. But again, as I've done it for a whole year, I've gotten a lot faster at it. And I can't do without it now. I'm hooked. So where I'm at currently with sales, again, last year was probably my best year. I had 15,000 in sales, which obviously was the best I've had. And I worked so much less. So I didn't attend any markets. I had no events that I had to like set up my tent for, and like it's a whole day being out there. I had none of that. So and I started actually paying myself. So I definitely started working smarter, not harder, and I made more. And I had a huge profit. Not huge. For me, it was huge because again, for the first 2 years, I had no profit. So all sales were completely lost when it came to expenses. But 2023 was a big year for me. I had my biggest amount in sales and I actually showed a $6,000 profit. So for me, that was huge. I was super excited. Again, classes were a huge chunk of those sales. I think way over half, were my class sales. So just in classes, I made a lot of money. So that's where I'm at with customs. Again, please look at that Google document. I have a lot of my templates and everything provided, as well as past lives categorized into what you're looking for. And I will continue to update that as well. So I do offer holiday pre-sales or pre-orders. If I had it my way, I would only be doing classes and holiday pre-orders kind of a thing and step away from customs. But right now I've upped my prices for customs, so I feel that I'm adequately being reciprocated for my time, because now I have all these things in place like templates and forms, and it just makes my workflow a lot easier. I have a system that works for me. I know what my week looks like. I have a custom at the end of this week and it's Monday and I'm not freaking out yet. Normally I would be freaking out, but I've kind of had this thing figured out and it works for me. So last couple things here on where I'm at currently. I am not in my kitchen. I am in my cookie room. So in the beginning of 23, I went ahead and moved into a spare bedroom in our basement, and it's a very large room, but I have everything in one area, and I mean, I understand not everyone can logically do this in their home, but for me, I have the space, but it was just a matter of cleaning it out, and we put down new flooring and all the stuff. So, I mean, it was definitely a process, but I can't say it enough how much nicer it is having all of my ingredients and my packaging over here, visible for me. I'm, like I said, I'm a visual person. If I can see it, I know that I have it. I know how much I have. It's very, very convenient for me, and I don't waste as much money now with packaging. And because I've niched down, I used to offer 50 million things in my cookie room and in my business, and now I don't. So I don't have to have 50 different packages for those items. So niching down really helps with that stuff too. So really quick, equipment must-haves. I think that's a big question for people when they're starting out. Again, I did not get all of this the first year, and I don't think that it's necessary your first year. I definitely will admit I am a sucker for what the twins say, and I bought a lot of stuff probably early on that I didn't necessarily need, but now where I'm at currently, I use this stuff for every order. So a projector. I have the Pico Mini projector. I have an Archon mount, which is holding my iPad right now. I love it. I have a dehydrator. I have a Bosch mixer and a bun rack or speed rack over here. And I have a photography setup as well. So that is in that corner over there. I was a photographer before I was a baker, so I already had the camera and the lighting. I just needed to purchase some AE core backers that were food safe and smaller. Obviously, I have like 10-foot backdrops. So all of that stuff, again, is not necessary to start, but throughout my 3-year journey, I have definitely utilized all of those things in every order that I do. So definitely recommend saving up for those type of things and adding those to your arsenal of tools. Next thing is, again, I kind of already touched on this, but just a professional look all around. I knew from the beginning that I wanted a professional look to my business, and I wanted to adhere to that through and through. I update my website based on what I want to sell. So again, I have transitioned my business a lot through the last 3 years with just my family changing. And I definitely make sure that my Facebook page and my business are cohesive, and it looks to people from the outside that I am selling the same thing. So if this year I'm focusing on classes and pre-sales, then that's what I have on my website. We're gearing into the graduation season, and I have a little bit of availability in the May and June months before I maybe take off a little bit for the summer. So I went ahead and kind of updated my website, and I'm going to start adding some posts to Facebook. Then I'm going to take a couple graduation orders. So just make that cohesive look. I have a Google My Business. I highly recommend that. I can't say enough to, if you are a home baker, to not put your personal address on Google. You will have people show up at your door thinking that you are a storefront. There is a huge understanding that if you're on Google, you are a storefront and not a home bakery. So I had a lot of people calling me. We live kind of in a town where there's some main highways that cross. So I had a lot of like truck drivers and out of towners that were just looking to stop at like a bakery and called me and wanted to know if they could just pick up cupcakes like right now. And I definitely don't offer that. So I had to word things very differently. And again, you can Google me and see what I have listed. By all means, use that stuff. So highly recommend Google My Business. I definitely get a lot of class traffic through my Google My Business, which is great. Order forms. So I have an order form for my customs and my private classes. And I have those set up so that it saves me time and I don't have to go back and forth with things. Sales funnel post. Again, I made a post just like last week or so, or a couple weeks ago, I have that linked in the Google document as well. You can kind of get a gist of how I take an order from my form to the email that I quote them, what I say back to them. Again, I have all this stuff kind of set up as templates, and then I just tweak and add specific customer details into each of those. And again, it really helped streamline my process, and I highly recommend having that kind of a thing set up for your business as well. And it just gives that customer experience that's really consistent. And then the last thing for where I'm at currently is just with my life and where I'm at in my business, I batch prep everything. So my freezer is constantly stocked with sugar cookie dough and mega cookie dough, icing, buttercream, all of that, Bosch mixer all the way. And that has really helped me in preparing. So when I have a down week and my kids are actually napping, I go ahead and make a quadruple batch, and it is amazing. If you don't work in big batches, the Bosch is not great for you. It does not like small batches, but if you can figure out a way and test your recipes to make sure that they freeze well, I know that mine does. So it really just works for me, and that is how I live my life with my business, is by batch prepping and making sure that I constantly have a plethora in the freezer. And again, how I have my classes and my orders, I always know that I'm going to use it up within a week or two, 3 at the most. And obviously all of that stuff is great to be frozen for that amount of time. So Mega cookie is my version of a drop cookie, and it's 4 ounces, so it's quite large. That's what I call it in my business. It's a mega cookie, and I do different flavors. So that is it for that kind of stuff. I'm going to just really quickly go through some things that I like and dislike. And again, I'm going to run through them quickly, but if you've never heard of it or if you want more information of it, chances are I have it linked in the Google document so that you can learn more about it. Again, there are so many people that spent so much time explaining and going over these different softwares or tools, so I don't want to like reteach that when there's already great content out there for you. So I just highly recommend, again, you're investing in your business, you're investing your time in learning new things. Even if it doesn't apply to you, you may learn something what not to do from someone on these past lives. And that is what I did over the last 3 years. I have watched every single Facebook Live. I am almost current on all of the podcasts, and just soak up as much information as you can. And it's just a really great resource, and I'm so grateful that the twins have created this community for us. So really quick, I love Square. So a lot of people have issues with Square. I love it in the fact, for me and my business, it's free. So I only have to pay fees when I use Square and I use credit cards transactions. So when I take, let's say when I took 4 months off to have my daughter, I did not have to feel guilty about having all of these monthly subscriptions that I was not getting reciprocated for. So when I decide to take off time or say that I'm booked, I don't have to feel guilty about the expenses that are occurring in my business. I don't think I have any that are reoccurring in my business. So if you'll see a trend here, all this stuff is going to be for free as far as monthly things go. So again, there is a fee associated with Square, but it's just when you have someone pay you with a credit card. So I use Square for my website. I use my Square as a POS, which is a point of sale at physical markets. So I take one of my iPads and I have like a card reader, and I track each sale. It counts like my drawer. So I have a cash box with me at markets, and it counts my drawer and keeps the tab for me. It's really convenient at the end of the market. I just count my cash, type it in. It's really great. I also invoice my customers for all of my custom orders. So that is all done through Square as well. So it's one-stop shop for me. Yeah, there's things that we wish Square could do to integrate better, but again, you get what you pay for. And for me personally, I can't complain with free. If I were doing this full time and I really wanted to push things and add more things and do more things with my website, it would probably not work out as best for me. But for right now and what I use it for, I'm completely happy with Square. And again, there are great lives on how to set up a website, how to run a pre-sale on Square, all that kind of stuff. Next thing is the website and invoice free on Square. Yes, to my knowledge. Again, I signed up through Square maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So if there are fees and that stuff is not free now, that is news to me, and it could just be that I'm grandfathered in. But to my knowledge, you can open an account with Square and all of that stuff is included all in one. Again, the only thing that I pay for is just a percentage fee of the sale plus like a 30-cent fee. And I actually pass that on to my customers. So whenever possible, I always offer cash and check payments. Again, that is another benefit for my porch pickup stand in my locked cash box. I always offer that as an option so that they don't have to pay those fees, and then I don't have to pay them. So it's kind of a win-win. Moving on. So MailChimp is a email marketing software. Again, it's free on the website. I have it linked in the Google document, as well as I think someone even taught a couple lives on it. That's where I learned how to use it. It's really great. I only use it maybe once a month, less than that. I have about 290 email subscribers. I've gotten those just over the years. I've asked people to sign up to be my sweet VIP email list. I exclusively launch classes and like holiday sales to my VIP list first. And then I open it to the public. I usually give them like 8 hours, 10 hours heads up. And there's a lot of times that my VIP list will clean me out and take all of my product, and then there's nothing left for everybody else. So that's the perk and the sale that I drive home to why you should sign up to be on my VIP list, because you get exclusive access sooner than anybody else. So again, I do also have on the Google list a example of my February cookie sale that I launched. So it's like a link and you get to see what I sent out to my customers, just to see how you can customize it with colors and your logo and pictures and links and all that stuff. It's really great. We got any questions? No? Okay. Farmers markets, again, they gave me my start, but I do not love them now, being an established business. Again, just for me personally, I have 2 kids at home and I'm going to be gone for the whole day, not to mention all the prep that I need to do the week before. It's a chaotic week. There's just so many variables to consider. It's so tough, and no one can answer that question for you of how much product do I take or how much product do I make. I've never figured it out. I mean, there's times that I've sold out really fast, which is great, but then you're mad you didn't make more. But then there's times where I came home with a lot of it and I didn't have the Facebook following where I could do the flash sale after a market to sell it and get rid of it. It got wasted. So that was hard. But for me right now, I'm busy enough, as busy as I care to be with custom orders. So that's another thing, that when you go out into the community, they can try your cookies. Oh, these are great. Hey, we should order from her for so-and-so's birthday. For me personally, I have to say no, because it's usually really close and I usually am booked up 2 to 3 months in advance. So it's kind of like dangling the carrot for them. And then, by the way, no, you can't order from me because it's too last minute and I'm already booked. So that's really hard for me to sell that to people. So I'm just choosing not to do farmers markets at this time with where my business is right now. But I definitely recommend them if you're just getting started and you don't know how to get busy. That was something I recommend. Google Forms or Square website forms. So again, we're talking about forms that you are getting information from your customers they're inquiring to you about an order. So we like forms. I love forms. I started with the Square So in Square, there, when you establish a website, you can put in a form right on your website and get their contact information, and then you get a notification and you can reach out to them. Same thing with Google Forms. I personally don't love those. I started and I've tried both of them. There wasn't enough information for me to plug into those forms and get them really dialed into the information that I needed to get from them in order to give them a quote. So for me, that's time lost. If I have to just get their name, phone number, email, and like I want 24 cookies for this party next week, that's not enough information for me to give them an accurate quote. So I have to go back and forth, back and forth. Hey, what color? How many of this? How many do you want writing? Do you want italics? All the back and forth. So I have my form dialed in now so that I don't have to ask any questions. They fill out a very detailed form, and it also weeds people out. So again, that sales funnel is a real thing. I made it long on purpose because if you don't want to fill out the form, I don't want to waste my time trying to sell to you if you're not going to place an order anyway. So I use JotForm. Again, it's free for however many forms I have created. Very customizable. I can list my prices. I can plug in like a PDF file where my menu is. I can have them upload an inspiration photo. And that is probably the best thing that I've had because I always had to go back to them and ask them to send me a picture because, again, I'm a visual person. And I wasn't able to do those. Maybe you can do that with Google Forms in the Square, but I couldn't figure it out. So I went ahead and went with JotForm. Again, someone taught an awesome live on it. That's how I learned about it. I have it linked in my Google document as well as I have a list. I have an example of my form, so you can actually click on my form and kind of take a look at it. And then I also have my template listed that I send them after they fill out the form for me to get back to them with the quote. So again, I have all of that as a template that you can look at and feel free to use if you would like to. Cake cost. So that's another thing I have linked in that Google document is the website to cake cost. It's like an ingredient calculator. So if you've never calculated what your cost of ingredients are, that's a great place to start. I have outgrown it. I do so many different things in different flavors. And for me, the cake cost, you had to continuously typing in the same thing over and over. So now I use Google Sheets. And someone, again, was awesome enough to share how they have created a Google document that they use for cost and pricing out their goods. And I went ahead and copied it and made my own. I did add some things, like I added a master packaging list as well and what my cost of all of my packaging is. So when I go ahead and create an ingredient label or a new recipe, I know that it needs this label and this packaging. I can attach all of those costs that are associated and get a really accurate cost. So that's really nice. Just a few more things. I'm trying to wrap it up. I know I'm going a little bit over. Sorry, twins. Excel. So I started an Excel spreadsheet in the beginning with income and expenses. It worked for 2 years. And then I just outgrew it. I only had maybe 3 or 4 income and expenses every month, so it was really easy to just type those in manually and keep track of them in an Excel spreadsheet. Now I'm getting income from a lot of different couple places, and it's just getting a lot to hand type all of that. So I use Wave. Again, I have it linked in the Google document as well as someone taught a live on it. Very awesome, very informative. It's very user-friendly. It's similar to QuickBooks, but again, it's free. It connects to your bank account and your credit cards, so all of those transactions just show up automatically, so you don't miss any. I don't know how many incomes and expenses that I just missed on when I was doing it by hand. So really, really recommend Wave in getting that customization and accuracy. All I have to do is log in and add in my receipts to the expenses and then categorize my income and expenses, and that's it. I can run a bunch of different reports for my sales tax every month, as well as my tax person. I print off all of the information that she needs from there as well. Highly recommend a Bosch mixer. Again, if I haven't said that enough, I love my Bosch mixer for me in prepping for large batches for classes and stuff. It's just a no-brainer. I will not be purchasing another KitchenAid. I do still use my KitchenAid. I have two, like I said, I have them back to back behind me right now. I use the Bosch mixer for my dough, the heavy stuff. Again, my sugar cookie dough, I can fit a quadruple batch, and my mega cookie dough, I can fit a quadruple batch in that as well. I do quadruple batches of my buttercream, and I still make my royal icing in my KitchenAid just because it's not thick enough that it makes it make bad noises. So the KitchenAid is still used for royal icing and small batched items if I only need to make small batches. And that is it. That's all I have. I'm sorry I went over a little bit. If anyone has any questions, you can ask them. Otherwise, feel free to message me. You can, again, if you're watching this as a replay, just make sure you write replay on your questions, and I'll try to keep coming back to this and answering those. I will, again, input the Google document that I had with all of these helpful links, and I will continue to update it with things if I change stuff. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you got something out of this. Again, it's my way of giving back to this group. I've learned so much over the years, and I really hope that I can teach another live. So if there's something that you can't find enough information on in the group, and I have some experience with it, I would definitely be willing to come and do something else or go more in depth on something that I have here. So thank you guys. I'm glad it was helpful. Again, I did post a while ago about my sales funnel. I do have that linked if I linked it correctly. Otherwise, you can just search my name in the group and find that post from just last week. I shared a lot of more templates and stuff in that as well. So I think that's it. If there's no other questions, make sure we didn't miss anything. Nope. Awesome. All right. Thank you guys. Like I said, if you have questions, go ahead and comment, and I will get back to them another time. Thank you. Have a great night.